Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the Collingwood vs Adelaide round 15 AFL game in terms of AFL fantasy, who did well, who didn't do so well. It was the Jordan Dawson show. 172 was absolutely mammoth, only 69 in the second half, but yeah, that second quarter, 73 points. I think it's probably the highest that I've seen this year. A couple others that were really high in the 60s, etc. We usually get a 50-pointer by someone every game, but don't think I've seen a 70-pointer that often. I think Finlayson might have got up there in that routing against the Hawks, but I don't think anyone's got pretty close to the 73 that we saw from Dawson. Nick Dacos chipped in at the end. I think he had like a 50-point last, and we'll go through that as well, and how Darcy Cameron is another good option from Collingwood, but it was basically Dawson, Laird, Nick Dacos, and Darcy Cameron that I'm pretty sure I'm looking at. And from Adelaide and Collingwood, yes, I have Ben Keys at the moment, and hopefully he can continue on with his break-even to keep on going up and up and up in price. But I think there's some time soon where I'm going to need to trade him out and get him up to someone big, but that'll be probably, so round 16, round 17, round 18 will be the first round that I have a full premiums. And then I got, so round 20, so I have 4 rounds with like Cogs or something like that, or Butters, hopefully. So that's, I guess, the before the video, and now we'll get into the video after I remind you to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, Nick Dacos had a crazy game. It wasn't actually 50 points in the last, but it was pretty much... it was 43 in the end, and he just had a huge effort. 120 is pretty good for him. His break-even is restored now, and yeah, so he's not going to obviously drop in cash, but it doesn't really matter because you pretty much have to have him if you want to be anywhere close to the top of the fantasy charts. Absolutely huge from him, 23-30, 24-43. In the end, 120 was on 53 at half, 77 at three-quarter time, and then ended off with a huge 43-point last. And yeah, just got the massive amount of disposals. I don't know what it exactly ended up on. If we look here, he ended up on 37 disposals, 2 marks, 5 tackles. So it seems like with the midfield role that he's got in the last couple of weeks, his marks are dropping off a lot compared to sort of this backman role that sort of fell away a little bit around round 7. But he's picking it up with tackles, and hopefully he can get he can develop that sort of Mills sort of play style with the marks, and that'll enable him to get up towards that 35, 5 and 5, which will be ridiculous because that'll be basically already, even if he was just to have 35 handballs a game and 5 and 5, we're looking at 105 itself. Say he has 17 or 18 out of those being kicks, we're looking at 120 average. I think he could actually do in a year or two time. So I do think he will keep his defender status next year and be the number 1 defender, but it will be tight now given that he has a midfield role and he's had it for a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see with that. But Nick Dacos is the second best defender behind Jordan Dawson at the moment in the fantasy game. Tom Mitchell, again, 109. I'm honestly waiting for him to fail at this point because I just cannot rely on him at the moment, but he is producing and producing and producing. So, I mean, he's going to go over 900k because he's going to have a pretty good break-even next week as well. But, yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get him in. I wish I was able to get him in around that 820 range, as I think that was the time to get him in, as he's produced, I think, 4 or 5 tons in a row now. But again, another solid performance from him at 26, 35, 21, 27. So, yeah, just consistent. Then you have Darcy Cameron. And, yeah, really consistent from him, 106. He didn't get away strong in the first quarter, I don't think, from memory. As you can see here, 23, because he had a little bit of junk time here where he 8, 10, 16, 10, 14, 15 in the last 11 minutes of the quarter. So he started off really a little bit slow, but kicked on in the second, and then in the third quarter he really picked it up. He had a holding the ball decision, and then and then in the next minute he took a mark in the forward line. So he ended up getting about 15 points in the space of about a minute and a half, and that really propelled him onwards. And it got him out of almost the pack of about the 20th best AFL fantasy score in the game up to that point, up to about the 5th or 4th. So he really propelled, and then he just stuck around that top 7, top 6 range for the game with a 106. Josh Dacos started on fire with like 15 first quarter disposals, fell away in the last, but I mean, he had something like 35 or something touches, I'm pretty sure. And then there wasn't really anyone to talk about in terms of Collingwood again, as there's not really any rookies. I mean, you got Harvey Harrison, who's gaining a lot of cash quickly. He's up to 291, I believe. I will not be getting him because I believe he's got a positive break even now. And I believe 290k will just limit what I can do next week. I am looking for... I probably will, if there isn't anyone debuting. I really want a mid-forward debuting, because if I can get a mid-forward debuting, I can save another 38k on Elijah Hewitt, and that will get me up towards at 186. And 186 means that I need to gain 14k out of Wilmot and where is it? Wilmot and probably Windhager, 14 more k, as well as gaining enough to get them up towards that 900k, so that I can get someone good, because I know Wilmot will probably gain another 30 or 40k. And if I go to these 900k options, you've got Parrish, Butters, Kelly, Sarong, and I really do want Laird, but I'm currently at a point with these two that I'd have effectively, at this point, I'd have 866k before these changes, before these potential price rises, and Windhager's got a 25 break even, and Wilmot's got a 42 if I look here. Break evens. If we look at Windhager, he's got a 27 break even, and Wilmot has a 42 break even. So that's 69 break even in total. I know this is a little bit generalized, but say they make say they score between them 150 or so, that should get them up around 50k 60k in general, and 60k would get them around about that 940 range or so. So we're really looking at Laird somewhere here, wherever he is. I believe he's around that 120 range. I'm sort of hoping Laird doesn't go berserk, because then I can get Laird and I can have the 3 Adelaide guys, as Laird does look like a guy that can go 130s. And I can have the 3 Adelaide guys and I can have them at around that. And that'll be really good for me, as I'll be having Tom Green will then drop down as to my M6 after that, and then I can just use Johnson and someone else and get up to the likes of and use probably Sheldrick and get up to the likes of up to Mills, which should be good enough, and then that'll be pretty much my complete team. But I thought I had another guy somewhere here that I could use, and then I could use Johnson and maybe even Long if Johnson can gain enough cash and get up to as that'll be 2 weeks worth, and that'll enable me to get up to Mills or I can get up to Mills this week and Laird the week after, and that'll get me enough to do that and save Sheldrick for upgrading Hayden Young the next up to the likes of Sicily out of his bye in a couple weeks' time. So that's basically the plan that I have. Moving on to Adelaide, and Jordan Dawson had a ridiculous... he slowed down and only had 24 in the last, but that was ridiculous. If we just look and scroll here, he had something like 14 touches, 4 marks, 7 tackles or something like that. So his non-disposal points were still something like 28... was still 40 points in that quarter alone, non-disposal wise, and then he had 14 touches, which added up to, I think, close to 43, but then he had a free kick against as well, so it was 46 in non-disposal. So I think he had somewhere close to it would have been 36 in non-disposal, and then that's across 14. So I think he ended up having probably, I think it was 8 kicks and 6 handballs or something in that quarter. So yeah, it was just a ridiculous output. 172 was absolutely huge. You had Laird at 111, huge last quarter from him, and he looks primed. I get to watch another week of him before before watching it, and then we'll see how it goes with him. But he looks primed as well. Rankin 100, Walker, Keys 90. A little bit disappointed in these 2 quarters here, but yeah, he gave away a couple free kicks, was annoying, and that limited him to 90. I think if he could have easily gone 100, 110 here, but it was a tough team, Collingwood, to play against, and he had to run the tagging role. So I think he now plays against North, where I will be putting a VC probably on Dawson, and I'm hoping Keys can go 110 or something against North, but we'll have to wait and see with that. I may end up going and getting, if I look at the break-evens again, I may end up going and getting Laird now. I could go get Laird now, as Doherty does. Doherty has a 114, and do I think he's going to go ridiculous against Hawthorn? He probably does, so that's sort of the limiting factor against that, because I do want to go get Laird, but I might also skip Laird and get Butters, as Butters could be an option, and then I can move Keys on in a couple of weeks, not for necessarily a forward. I can move him on for another midfielder, as Butters can go back into the forward line. So I could look at that instead. I just need to look at Butters break even. Butters has a 132 break even, so we'll monitor that. But I think Butters is an endgame type player, and has shown in the last couple of weeks that he can do it, as he has a 115 and 109, and he did have a 77 against the Cats, but I'm looking to bring him in sometime soon. But yeah, I think there isn't much else to talk about here, as no one else here really. Rochelle at 47 is quite disappointing for those who still have him for some reason, but I don't think many competitive teams have him. But yeah, there's some plans floating in my head, but I think I still will get Doherty, as I don't think I'll get, as I have a lot more, there's a lot more mid options to get. I don't think there's many defenders and forwards to get that I don't already have on my list, I guess. I guess I do want to get Doherty, and I do want to get Sicily and Butters, I think. And Butters can be that midfield target, as well as there's like Kelly as well, could pop up, as he's what's his break even, Kelly. But yeah, it's all about monitoring this week and seeing who does well and who's in my price range next week. But I want to give myself as much cash as I can remaining to be able to do it. I do need someone to debut. I hope someone does debut, because I do need someone to. And it would preferably be mid forwards, as that would enable me to move players around, etc. But I think this is the best setup, and I do think Doherty is a must to have for people at the moment. So yeah, that's pretty much the video there, and I'll be back with the last review, and then I'll get into my team review for the round, etc. that tomorrow, and all my other videos. So that's the review of the Collingwood Adelaide game, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.